Okay, so uh, being a bank holiday Monday, it's a lazy Monday morning, and we might get a few people joining us a bit late, but we'll just make a start anyway. So, what we do in these sessions, every time it's the same, we just practice bringing the selves home, bringing the scattered mind back to the center. And the reason the mind becomes scattered, well, there are lots of reasons for that. Uh, it can be, for example, conflicts, even growing up between the self, the sense of self, and expectations of society or parents or family or employers or whatever. Whenever we have conflicts like this, part of ourselves can um, dissociate. And dissociation is also related to trauma. So, and obviously, some people have very specific traumas in their lives, but I think we can also say that we have experienced a generalized trauma, even just in terms of this pandemic and one thing and another, and all these things can cause dissociation. So it's when the mind fractures slightly and we have different bits in different places, and some parts of our mind might be living in memories in the distant past, and other parts might be still living in old outdated relationships, or living in sort of, I don't know, guilt or whatever. So or even just simple things like the mind wandering to think about what we have to do later in the day, shopping lists, the things I must do. So the practice is to just spend 10 or 15 minutes bringing all the parts home. So today we're going to do something slightly different. We're going to use a technique called cubic breathing. And this is a technique that is used by Wim Hof, the Iceman. Some of you will know that I do cold water swimming. So this is one of Wim Hof's techniques, and it's also used by Navy SEALs apparently, and it's recommended for the treatment of anxiety, PTSD, because it reduces cortisol in the body, the stress hormone, and it calms the autonomous nervous system. So, and creates a sort of immediate sense of calm. But obviously, with these exercises, breathing exercises, we have to use our common sense. And if you have heart problems, or if you start getting very dizzy or whatever, just use your common sense and stop doing it. Just take a break to breathe normally. So, okay, so we'll just bring ourselves back into the room where we're sitting, get ourselves comfortable, relax, maybe just straighten the spine slightly. Notice the body in the space. And we're going to, with this technique, it's called cubic breathing, because we're going to breathe in for the count of 7. We're going to hold it for the count of 7. We're going to breathe out for the count of 7. And then we're going to hold that for the count of 7. And we're going to repeat that a few times. So, and then we'll just see, let the body rest and see how that feels. So, okay, so we can begin. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And again, breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And hold that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're just going to repeat that ourselves for a while. And we can imagine while we're doing it that we're creating a square or a cube sort of inside us or around us with each side. As we breathe in, one side, we hold that, another side, breathe out, another side, hold it, another side. And get into a rhythm with that inside our own minds. We'll just repeat that for a couple of moments. You can probably notice already the body starting to relax a little bit. And so you can either now, you can continue with that for as long as you feel comfortable, or you can just return to a normal breathing pattern. Just watch the breathing coming and going, how it affects the body as you breathe in and breathe out. I quite like the idea when we're doing this cubic breathing. In my mind, I can't help but draw squares. And I've been experimenting with where we draw these squares in relation to ourselves. Sometimes we start by drawing it in front of ourselves. In breath. Hold it. Out breath. Hold it. In breath. Hold it. Out breath. Hold it. We can also play with making these squares bigger or smaller. We can make them so that they surround us, so that they move from front to back through us or from side to side. And what we're actually doing is creating a sort of cube for ourselves as well. And what I would call a tesseract, which is a cube in 4-dimensional space. And one of the ideas, if we want to get really a little esoteric with our practice as we're doing this cubic breathing, we can draw these squares all around us, and then we can bring it all inside. We can bring it inside and imagine we have this cube on the inside, this tesseract, this cube in 4-dimensional space. And don't worry if your mind's wandering. Don't worry if you're coming and going, concentrating on the breathing. Don't worry if you're flicking in and out, listening to my voice. That's fine, because part of it will go with you wherever the mind goes. Just continue with this breathing. Just imagine a space inside us. The cube was one of Plato's, the Platonic solids that he believed are at the basis of everything that exists. It's quite interesting, this bringing this solid, if abstract, cube into the center of us through our breathing. cube that maybe is in all dimensions and none. A point in space and time that contains all other points in space and time. A little moving cube inside the self as we breathe in. Hold it. Breathe out. Hold it. The wonderful thing about the cube that we create inside ourselves is that we can make it bigger or smaller at will. We can have it a very small point, the center of our being, something that is timeless and dimensionless. And we can also make that larger so that it surrounds us as well. This is the idea, it's quite an esoteric idea of a cube within a cube. As we make the cube larger to fill the space around us, we have a small cube inside us. There's something very solid in that. Very grounding, like this cubic breathing. Breathing in, hold it. Breathing out, hold it. Breathing in, hold it. Breathing out, hold it. Just take the last moment or two now. Just return the breathing to a normal relaxed way of breathing. And just notice the body. Notice if you feel any sensations from that. For some people, they might feel some tingling in the palms of the hands. Or a slight lightness. Some people feel an immediate sense of calm. And just notice the body. Ourselves centered in this body, in this space. Even doing these exercises for 10 or 15 minutes, once or twice a week, it instills in us a deep sense of calm that we bring with us then, wherever we go. And it's a resource that we can call on whenever we need it. If we find ourselves perhaps can't sleep or getting anxious, and just remember and try this cubic breathing. Maybe not if you're driving, but if you're in a safe environment to do it, just practice this cubic breathing. Breathing in, hold it. Breathing out, hold it. We can just, as we return to the day, move our fingers and toes. Move our toes, feel the tonus, move our fingers, feel fingerness. Move our arms and legs a little bit. Give ourselves a little smile because we've given ourselves this time on a sunny Monday morning. A small gift. Take a nice deep breath and can open our eyes and bring yourselves back to the world. Just that little bit more balance, that little bit more stability, the cube on the inside, that little bit more centering, bringing home of all the scattered selves.